Thank you so much for staying tuned. If you just joined us, this is TMI. It's all about Kaduna State Governor's complaint about some part of his own states being run by terrorists, vis-a-vis power government being orchestrated by terrorists. Joining us right now in the studio is a legal practitioner and, of course, an Islamic scholar. Join me to welcome Barrister Amin Allah. Welcome to TMI on this edition. I appreciate your coming. All right. I have other panelists helping me in the studio to throw more light on this particular discussion. Al-Hajj, you've been watching and listening. I mean, what do you feel about this development?
Thank you very much. You see, it is very unfortunate that we have found ourselves in the position we are right now. But despite the fact that we have found ourselves in the position we are right now, we have not really realized the step we ought to take to really find solution to the various problems that is confronting us as a nation. Rather, we are still trading blame game, and everybody feeling that he is just perfect, he is innocent, he is excellent, and while others are responsible for the ills that we are experiencing in the country. You see, when matters get beyond your control, I always mention God, then you have to resort to Almighty God, our Creator. But sometimes when you talk God, people say it's always God we are talking, always God we are talking. And despite the fact that we have many places of worship, we appear to be religious, but we are not godly. And that explains why we are experiencing all this. And unless we turn back to God, and then we will continue to experience, if possible, worse things and may Almighty God not let that happen to us. Now, the real issue. All that is happening in Nigeria now, either that was happening in Borno when the bandits were in charge of about 13 local governments, or what is about to happen or happening in Kaduna now when the governor has to cry out that there is parallel government now being set up by some bandits, or what is going on in the southeast. Now, all these things, they are child's play compared to what was happening in Makkah at a particular time that was called Jahiliyyah period. It was called period of ignorance and darkness, period of barbaric period. I wouldn't want to go into history, just a child's play. Talk of the rituals that is going on. There is nothing then that was not existing. But in fact, it was time again for Almighty God to destroy the world, like God destroyed people of Noah, Sodom and Gomorrah, and some other generations in the past. But in lieu of destroying the world, God decided to send the reformer. He said, I will send the prophet, I will send Muhammad. Now, today, Makkah, that was once a worst place on earth, you can confidently say that it's one of the best cities on earth today. See, you go to bank in Makkah, bring out box of money box, put it in your car, leave the car open, go back to the bank, go and bring more. Nobody will touch a dime. Why? Because you pick it, your hand is off. The punishment is strict. Now, by the time you now say, oh, we cannot go by the law of God. All these laws are in the Bible, all these laws are in the Quran. In order to escape it, we say, no, Nigeria is a secular state. It's a secular state. So, as a Muslim, your life is not governed by the Quran. As a Christian, your life is not governed by the Bible. Everybody does whatever he likes. We are all enjoying freedom. Our leaders are worse. They go there, they embezzle our resources, they amass wealth. At the time of Abubakar Tafawa Balewa, he was just having a very small TV. You can count how many garments he was having. Then, but today, what happens? Our leaders, they go there, they amass wealth, and we keep clapping for them. In fact, what is their title? As you step into office, you are already your excellency. Somebody is already excellent. What performance does he need to do again? I've submitted before that when the governor comes into office, do not give him the appellation excellency until he starts performing excellently well. Then give him excellency. But as I assume office, I'm already an excellent person. Then what other thing do I need to do? There is no other grade greater than excellency. Now then, coming to area of hypocrisy. What the bandits and terrorists are using today now are not local weapons like the ones that were used in Makkah in those days. They were using sword and spears and arrow. But today, what are they using? AK-47, AK-49, bomb, other things. Now, first question: who manufactures those? Who manufacture those weapons? Most of them were not manufactured in Nigeria. Now, how did those weapons get into Nigeria? the countries that manufacture them, why did they decide to sell to those who are not government, who are bandits, or who are guerrillas? So you see, now we go back to the Western world. When you manufacture arms and ammunition, you have no right to sell it to those who are not government. If government comes, you sell to them. Bandits come, you sell to them. Then when there is war in Africa, you now start bring what you call AIDS and foreign relief. You cause the war, you are giving weapons for them to kill themselves. You now come and say, yes, so war top country, let's go and help them. Humanitarian gift. Humanitarian what? Now, and when the weapons are now coming illegally into the country, those who are in charge of making sure that the weapons does not get into our soil, they get their own share. And they close their eyes, they look away. So if the foreigners decide to say, okay, we will sell to bandits, then at the point of entry, what stops our custom, and those are the point of entry to ensure that they do not, so corruption. Let it go. Let it pass. I've taken my own share of the money. So now we have a lot of weapons in the country. And now we are all suffering. What makes people respect government is that weapon. The weapon that you have. Police some don't respect their lawyers, they respect the police. Because you don't have a gun, you don't have a cell. But now, when I now know that I can also procure the arms, even a superior arm than that which your so-called policemen are carrying. So what am I afraid of? Let them come out, I'll deal with them. You see, before, it was armed robbery in darkness, armed robbery, you rob with face mask and escape. But now, it is now daylight robbery. We go to the market with our guns on our shoulders and we say, bring your dues, we are the one in charge here. If they burn you, will come and challenge us. And you see, some security men too, some policemen too, when you call them, they need to take note, okay, which type of weapons are they carrying before we go? By the time they hear the sound of the guns that the bandits are carrying, behold, they will not come until 3 hours later. Because they are human beings too. The policeman that will die, and what happens to the family is giving a token amount that cannot sustain them. So unless we really face reality, then area of drug is another issue. When you say, okay, God says no to intoxicants. Prophet says that, Muhammad says, whatever can intoxicate when taken in large quantity is forbidden altogether. So we say, no, we want to Islamize Nigeria. How can you say I should not take alcohol? I'm not a Muslim. The Bible does not allow you to take what is intoxicating. Drunkards will not enter paradise. It's in the Bible. When Jesus turned water to wine, it is not wine that can intoxicate or the proper reason. It's the wine that when you take, no matter how much you take that wine, you cannot get drunk. So now we allow us to take drugs. Under the influence of drugs, what ordinarily I will not do, I will do.
All right.
So these are the problems. So unless we return back to God, when we return back to God, then we start finding what are the solutions that Almighty God has laid down for us to get out from them.
We'll get to the solution later, because right now you talked about you liken the solution to what happened in Mecca. I used the term dark days, that this is like a child's play compared to what they have then. I was just wondering if you could just zoom into this pictures. We're going to see the kind of weapons the terrorists are carrying. If you can just read into it so that our audience can really have a look at it. Yes, that's the kind of weapons they are carrying, and that is Aerofan. Of course, the president, they are thinking of like what to do. These are the kind of weapons you see with these terrorists, and Aerofan is complaining that, look, these guys are overtaking a large chunk of Kaduna. He said these are dark times. Who is the person to really light up the darkness, Obaraye?
Light up the
darkness. Is it the president or the governor, Nasir El-Rufai?
The president and the governor are on the same team. One is the goalkeeper, one is the defender. I get it down. Yes. So why, if you cannot say the president is to blame, forgetting that there's a governor who collects security vote of the state. You can also say the governor is to blame, forgetting that there's a president who has sworn to an oath to oversee the security architecture and protect the property and lives of the citizenry, his citizens. So both of them, just like I told you before, are scored 0/100 total F9 failure. So waiting for any of them now to be held responsible when somebody's already crying that I have failed. So to me, quarreling with El-Rufai at this point, it will be sinful, because it's just like a child. You come inside and you see your phone has been broken, and 2 or 3 of your children are seated, and you ask, who broke this phone? Who broke this phone? Then somebody out of the 3, one stands up to say, Daddy, I did. It will be so myopic of you again to torture that child.
Because the child admitted.
So the governor has admitted that they've taken over. I failed. They are carrying weapons greater than the one we have. Oh, President, you come. Oh, the president now is also running. For the president to have told you that he was not aware, it was El-Rufai that also called him. They want to kidnap both of us. So where are you? I get it now. He said he didn't hear. I get it. So it's also possible that our president does not watch or listen to news, because if you had listened from the same avenue where El-Rufai has heard, I'm sure he was supposed to hear first. So to me, still trying to look for who to factor for Nigeria failure, when you already know that there are people. I'm not sure you collect any. The taxpayers' money does not go to Wilson's pocket, neither Alhaji Alao's pocket, neither my pocket. So why will you blame me for the failure of the leadership? What you should be blaming me about is that we are still shouting, hey, for these people. That should be my blame. Because our collective sweat are what some people use in buying houses overseas. These people telling you now that there is total failure in their state are yet to resign. These people telling you there is total failure in their state are yet to tell you, please, since I can no longer continue with the security, my security vote, stop it. Give it to the bandits. Bandit, please help us guide this place. You've already agreed. That is a superior power above you. So why you tell you agree? Why are you still shouting that you should fight that superior power? So to me, what we need to do is to go back to the drawing board. My brother has said something that we must not shy away from it. When the governors started joking with local government, when they started tampering with the tenure of local government, when they started tampering with the funds going to local government, they thought they were enjoying themselves. What happened was just like what is going to, if we also let this issue of local government be this long in Edo, it will give chance to those people inside the various local government forests for who to look for them. It took the government time to clear parts of Benin Auchi Road. It took them time. But if there was a local government, I think one of the campaign promises people would have asked would say, please, we hear noise down this place. Please, when you come on board,
take care of this part of the
road. Please. But I want to tell you, I'm a local champion. Do you know that sometimes I sit down, they tell me this person is the one in charge of Oredo. And sometimes the person might not even be from Oredo. It's very possible. You don't carry Alhaji Alao to come and be caretaker or something, director, HOS or something in Oredo. You transferred him from Bobaka or Ovia or Edo North, one local government Edo North, down to Oredo. And when Alhaji Alao will now come to Ororo Street or area, I will not tell him to wait, that he should follow me to pass Iyamu Street, down to Omorui, down to Asoro. Before we get to Arosa, I will lost him.
Because he doesn't know the terrain.
No! But when you now tell me, Osao, take charge of Oredo, and you tell me that, let me give you a scenario of what happened some time ago. My godfather, Enogi Lolo Uso, was expecting a visitor. We sat at area. And before we could check their property, the woman came. And the woman was like, Auntie, why did you took too long? What happened? He said, as she stopped at Ring Road, before she could say anything, her phone was missing. He said, what, your phone was missing? where did you stop at Twingo? He said, Samobayo Junction. Okay, don't worry, come follow us. We went to Asoro, we went to Arosa, we went to Area, we went to Omori. And before we got to Omori, they called us back at Asoro that we should come and check if this was the phone that was missing. And before God, that was the phone. The person has collected it to come and sell it at
in the same vicinity.
Yes. So because we already guided it to say it will not, the person will not go to New Benin to sell it.
Maybe within the same area.
Yes. If the person has also passed through forestry, we know where to block at forestry. By the time you block Ebe, you block New Lagos Road. Not, you are not blocking it as police. They are joint, you know that these people that does this thing must come and relax. Must. They will not, they must go there. You just go there. And to me, when they failed on that local government, they gave people chance to do anything to do. So if we have followed the constitution to say, let local government not to be an arm of their own on the mouth. It should be there real autonomous. Yes, just the way there is no vacancy, you can Abasaki cannot end on Monday, and on Tuesday you say let's put the head of service to be in charge of the state first.
All right.
No.
All right.
So that failure of leadership, I'm sure that if you go to Kaduna, they might tell you that they've not conducted election for the past 8 years.
I'll come back to you. Take a look at the these guys are carrying, talking about the terrorists. And of course, Alhaji Eloami talked about people selling to terrorists. And from what Erufai is saying, because of the weapon, he has seen them brandishing. It's like, it's quite scary. And now you're talking about local government. How many local governments can really afford this kind of weapons to repel this terrorist attack? Festus.
Some of us are not just local champions, we are lording and locals. Why am I saying this? Barrister here was talking about religious things. At times we just smile when we hear people say, the problem with Nigeria is because we don't have law, or we are trying to be more religious. No, there are laws in Nigeria. We have rules. The problem is we are not following those rules the way it ought to be. Nigeria is a federal entity where you have the federal, you have the state, and you have the local government. In US, whenever there is a problem in any vicinity, the first person to be there is sheriff. They are close to you. At times you don't call. They will see fire. They run down. They will be the one to call. If you dial emergency number, they will pick and tell you where. You give them address before you know they are there. Now you're talking about weapons. These are not weapons. The problem is not the weapon. Who are those using the weapon? My brothers and sisters. They are within our vicinity. Have you ever asked yourself, whenever there is a court war in Benin, how do they come about? They'll tell you, okay, no more fight. They stop it. They call meetings. Let's dialogue. So you are talking about terrorists in your own village, in your own locality. There are people you will call that will tell you this is the way out. He just says something. Someone will go to the bush and say, okay, I want to negotiate with these people. If that man can go and negotiate, that man can also tell them, come out, let's talk. So these are not, the weapons are not the problem. Because every weapon they are having today, the government have a bigger one.
They have a bigger one?
Yes.
Then how come we're not seeing it here?
Now, let me tell you something about the world. I said it before here on this television. There is a theory I studied in school, the devil's theory. And Alhaji was going to that area. I am in Germany as a weapon manufacturing company. What I do is this. Whenever I manufacture a weapon, I go to any country that I know they are very feeble, weak, or cause problem. Or go and set up a terrorist unit. 1 or 2. Give them the first weapon free. Now they are making money from kidnapping. While they are kidnapping, they are getting money. They go back to that company in Germany to buy. They will tell them, don't worry. We will take it down to where you are going. At times, They now look for multinational companies. While they are bringing their goods, they pack those tools along. So the problem we are having in Nigeria, let me shock you, it's not just the presidency, like what he said. One is the goalkeeper, one is the defender. The governors are the #1 problem.
How?
Let's forget about the security vote money they collect. The way the president sown to protect lives and property, the same thing the governor sown to protect lives and property.
What about the local government chairman?
We don't have. So the governors are supposed to first obey the constitution. There shouldn't be vacuum in government when it comes to local government. In my ward 5, the councillor is familiar. There was a time you begin to see, let me use the word that I normally listen to in ITV radio, the hiki within the Welu zone. The guy was so cool and said, okay, you set of persons like this, I don't want to see anything like this. Okay, this for you, this for you. Because the guy was within that community. When he empowers some persons in the locality, okay, the problem begins to solve. But now, the councillor from a particular local government where those bandits are now, maybe he's not from that local government. He's not familiar. There are places he cannot even go. While we're in the College of Education, I carried a lot those days, BIE, Lesson Yari Nambulele, he was the SUG president. There was a day, court crash, when Student Union building, they were shooting. BIE came out and said, I'm the president now, they're not going to shoot me. He entered a Luther van, drove down to the bush. When he entered, they stopped shooting. Because he was on ground. So when you are not on ground as a government, you are bound to have things like this.
All right. You're bound to have things like this. Now let's come to the 2023 general elections. We have been talking about this. Some are saying that report by El Rufai is not only peculiar to Kaduna states. That is, some other states, terrorists have already formed their own government. But El Rufai was one that really had the guts to say, presidents, Nigerians, this is what is happening. Other governors, they don't want to admit to it, but it's happening in their various states. Some are saying if this is the case, the 2023 general election should not be conducted in these states until they're able to fine-tune the security situation in that particular state. Al-Haji, do you agree to this school of thought?
I think as time goes on, we are still some months away from the 2023 general elections. And sometimes you hear people saying that when we get to the bridge, we shall cross it.
They'll cross it, yeah.
At the time you get to the bridge, you know if it is crossable or not. And you cannot determine how to cross it. We shouldn't forget that we had the Anambra elections. And ahead of the election, there were threats that the election will not hold. And those who made the threat, they really meant business. But the government, the federal government, were able to mobilize enough forces to Anambra State to ensure that the election took place. And today we have a sitting governor, person of Soludo. Now, we are facing the general election. This is not election for a state. Presidential election, the whole nation. So the question we're asking ourselves will be, where will the federal government or the government get enough forces to man all the polling units, all the polling booths all over the federation? Are we going to import soldiers and security from other countries? Because if the bandits, the terrorists, they all continue the way they are going, and one of the governors that people I feel is a strong governor is crying out. In fact, he has been threatening that we are going to kidnap you, kidnap the president. And after making that threat, it appears not to be an empty threat. He is now feeling the presence of the terrorists in the state, to the extent that there are some things you do not announce to the public you try to curtail it, you try to suppress it, you try to nip it in the bud for security reasons so that there is no fear. And so what that means is that this must have been on for some time. And Governor El-Rufai wouldn't want to voice out, not to create panic in the state, in the nation. But it has not got to the extent that he will be blameworthy if he fails to cry out. And also, he has now cried out. And possibly other governors have not cried out the way El-Rufai has cried out. In Benue State, the governor is saying, okay, now, no problem. We'll get ourselves ready for them. We'll fight them. What does that suggest? That means there is presence of terrorists in that state too. And they felt the federal government possibly is not doing enough. When some governors will say, okay, we want to equip our security agencies. You see, they are being cautioned on the side of the law. Do not forget that federal government has the authority when it comes to the issue of who carry weapons and who does not carry weapons. But the same federal government cannot properly protect the entire country. So, if this scenario continues until the 2023 general elections, now there may be voter apathy. The person, the cry now is, go and get your PVC. Then another cry is song, no sell your vote, no matter how much they give you. So we are getting our PVC ready. We have made up our minds to sell our votes. So, but what we may face, if care is not taken, is that now we have our PVC, we are not selling our votes. But the bandits are saying, come out now, come and vote.
Come and vote.
Come out now, come and vote. Then you see who say, okay, look, let Wilson go. If Wilson go and come back, then I will go. It may get to that.
Oh,
so that with the PVC, electors will be ready to vote. Unlike of us, we go ahead.
Yes.
But electors will say, okay, what's happening there? You go first, then you come and give me a report before I decide. So if I see that going to vote on election day may jeopardize my life, I will sit at home. Even the religious duties, you are allowed to sit at home when your life will be threatened. If you are to go on Hajj and the road to Hajj is not safe, there is war. Almighty God says that sit at home.
Sit at home.
Juma service that is compulsory. That if there is war on the way, your life is not safe. God says sit at home.
All right.
And that explains why we also sit at home when there was threat to our life due to COVID-19. Government says sit at home. So we have to continue to pray, and again we should be appealing to these terrorists and these bandits that say two wrongs cannot make a right. If you feel those who are in government, they have not been just enough, because there's what we call social justice, justice in the land. When you are a just king, you are a just ruler, you command respect from your people.
All right. I'll come back to you, Alhaji. He used the word or the phrase appeal to these terrorists or bandits. He also talked about people ready to go out there to vote. They won't say their vote, they have their PVC, but we have a Herculean task of going out successfully to vote because of the presence of these bandits. Take it from where it stopped. Is it going to affect the outcome of the election in these areas?
Definitely now. You already know it now. You just like you're asking me about, I want to ask you a very easy question, 1 + 1. Are you sure you know it? It's going to affect it. Are you getting it now?
Yeah.
Even it's going to affect it to the extent that some people have left Kaduna now with their PVC. They've left. Some people have left Benue. Just, I'm sure I watched it on a few days ago where the governor of Imo recaptured back a local government that was taken by kidnappers. I'm sure you watched it.
Yeah.
Where the entire community was deserted. They were kidnapping the traditional rulers and co, and he said there was inhuman where people were even eating flesh. That it was happening there. And you see, people are no longer there. The governor has said the place is peaceful. Now people will come. Some people have left there for good. They want to come back there again. And they have PVC for Imo. Maybe they are now in Benin or Lagos, where they think it's more peaceful to start their business and life. So it's going to affect it totally. And I think one area I will not agree for the first time with my leader here is appealing to bandits. I think it's appalling to the ear.
Has it not gone to that stage yet to appeal to them?
No, listen. It's not what we should discuss at all. You will not give rise to the coming generations to say they will also appeal to us. I don't do it, don't just say it at all. Remember when they were doing, I'm sure you were aware when Anini and Co was shot. Ramat Park, Mami Market, they would tie them at stake. Announce the date and time. You come, you watch. In your presence, you see somebody that walked to the place he was tied. And before you can say Jacobison, 1, 2, go. Anybody that had the intention of stealing from the border spot that day, on his way or our way back home, we not near the port. Because what he or she saw with the naked eyes, we don't want to participate at all in it. Can anybody tell you our leaders visit China? How come they don't take their loot to China? Are they not sensible? Because they know, they've told you. I'm sure Malaysia visa. Read it. They didn't tell you if they've given you the visa to come. But if they see you with drug,
you're dead.
Not, they didn't tell you we will negotiate with you. So you cannot now bring it in and say, oh God, I didn't read this part of it. Oh. No, now you are gone. So you wait the way you lay your bed till you lie on it. Are you really, let's be factual to ourselves. Are you telling me the federal government is really ready to fight Boko Haram to take them 72 hours? Let's be sincere with our words. What is happening now is, and my people, when I live there, that is what is happening now. We don't let, you were an adult when Udi happened, Obasanjo's era. No, the bill, but after the plea, just like this. And he didn't say human being. I don't want to say any living thing. My brother, go to Odi. Now you see. And tell me, somebody, if a policeman is passing Odi, a child don't want to slap that policeman. When that child knows that this coming generation in Udi now, that where an audio were in Udi will not be up to 18 years, because their generation was locked down on a directive order. The child will not say policeman. No. The child will say policeman, keep running. See, so Jamaica, keep running. If truly we are sincere to ourselves, where the governor has accepted that this place, and the president gives a directive to say, I give you 7 days. I don't want to see anything. And you tell me somebody will not come back. President, we tried our best. Our best was not good enough. We lost the battle. The battle to who? How many are there? How many policemen do we have? How many air force do we have? How many constables do we have? How many are there? How many soldiers do they have? We're talking about weapons, my brother. And what weapons do they have? Can they fight successfully in that country in a war? Let's be fact, can the people that is just securing the local government now even fight with the entire nation? They can't. Not even talk about that country. Nigeria can successfully defeat any other country that is weaker in power, in war, in battle. If Nigeria can go to Liberia, Sierra Leone, and they came out with flying colors to secure peace there, how come one with ants? You now understand? What killed us was negotiating with them. What killed us was tribalism. To say, if you can watch the marshal, it looks like somebody from Okoro's area. So if you beat him now, you are beating us. Let's leave them. And you get that impetus to start acting. Okay, look at a few days ago, our brother from the Niger Delta was moving majestically. You saw the weapons. You know my brother from Niger Delta that have a look like me. I'm sure you know him.
Faster than you.
Yes, fatter than me in tummy.
Okay.
You saw the way he moved in Niger Delta. You saw the ammunitions an individual was moving with. My brother, then you tell me that one. Why did Boko Haram go there and jam that area?
I'll come back to you.
Boko Haram knows that it's because Allah is saying God will do. That's why they're attacking him.
All right, hold on.
Did they see that? Why did you go and attack my brother and see? You know that he showed you rockets, not one, not two. You know, the rocket, it can destroy a full environment. About 8 was with him.
Calm down, Barry, calm down. What
you negotiate with bandits?
Well, you heard him. He said if they really want to handle the situation, they can handle it with ease. If they really want to, rid Nigeria of this terrorist attack, the federal government, they have the wherewithal. But you and I know that once upon a time, the administration led by the federal government, led by our President Buhari, gave an order, a marching order. But that order wasn't carried out. And everyone didn't fall. Take it up from there.
He gave the marching order to his friends. You know, when you walk and you see your Oga as a friend, at times it doesn't work. That's the problem we have.
Talk about military formation, police formation. They didn't follow the order.
He said something.
Yes.
He said, we go to Liberia, we go to this, we're in charge of ECOMOG. We deliver as a country. So Boko Haram is here today because governors, presidency, they are playing prank with it. Let me shock you. I was doing a research on some security officers. They never knew I was doing research. I was questioning them, getting some facts. One of my brothers said, do you know there are governors that will report some crime even when it doesn't happen because they want their security vote to be increased? He said, money way Bonu they get a security vote. We don't even they know again. So the GOC is collecting money from it. The man in charge of this barrack is collecting money from it. The governors are collecting money from it. It's going to take a very, very sincere man to tell you, no, we don't need it again. During the era of Jonathan, militants, now we are having Buhari. From terrorists to bandits, cattle rustlers, they are all there. So if we must fight these terrorists and have freedom and be happy as a country, we must work first on our international relationships. It is not about the locality. There is a country, I will mention the name, the United States of America. Is a friend to every country, but not friend to our country. There are other countries like that. They call you, we are friends. We saw what happened to Muammar Gaddafi. If you listen to his last speech, he said something about the country he was feeding. He gave them underground tunnel and supplied them oil. They were the country. It was from that territory they planned and scuttle his country. So if Nigeria wants to succeed, any president that is coming tomorrow, before you come to the local, you have to work on international relationship. There are countries let them know we are not friends. Because, like what he said, arms are coming in. From who? Where are they coming from? They come and tell you, we are your friends. We're going to give you arms to fight terrorists. They give you one, they give the terrorists 3. They give you 2, they will give the terrorists 4. So the problem is not something we just see that. It's not going to be easy because these terrorists, they now have different groups. One will break out from Boko Haram. The one in Kaduna now, they are not Boko Haram, if you read about them. They are not Boko Haram. They broke out from Boko Haram. They are there. You go to Benue, you have an other class of persons. A country where cow have value more than human being. So when we are through with the international relationship, they will not come to our home. We have to settle this. The federal government have weapons.
Let's give an order. Nobody stay in the bush. The military run through the bush. How big is Amisa Forest? Is it as big as Edo State? It's not as big as Edo State. I don't know. The order is everybody leave the bush. If you are in the bush, meaning you are a terrorist, you are a bandit. A country where people can conveniently steal 1,000 cattle. It's not a charge play. 1,000. I don't know if you've heard of it. 1,000 conveniently. You don't put them in the car or a truck. They move there. So Nigeria as a country, I don't think we should actually negotiate. You don't negotiate with criminals. There's nothing like negotiation. Work on the international relationship. There are countries that shouldn't bring goods to Nigeria. Then you come to the local. Let's settle our locality. Because if the arms they have now will last them for the next 3 months, if after 3 months no arms, they will surrender by themselves. If you go to Nigeria border, people will trek in from Niger. They don't search them now. For those abroad that have traveled to Libya, they'll tell you, when they look you are not a Fulani man. So it's a typical Benin man, they will not call you. Where are you going? Do you even have a passport? But when people are coming in bulk and they are Fulani, they will come into Nigeria. So we have to check our borders also.
All right. All right, now you just don't want to go on a break. When we return, we'll continue with this discussion, but after that, Alhaji will have his own say, because he talked about, let's talk to these people. Baraye and Fesa said we shouldn't negotiate with them. He gave an example of a warlord, so to speak, in the Niger region that parades himself with ammunition, talking about rocket launchers. It's like the federal government, according to him, do have more than they. So what are we waiting for? Don't forget our beloved president gave an order that was jettisoned by the person the order was given to. How can we get out of this? Don't go away. We'll be right back.